Today I want to talk to you about 3D printing. Now, why are we sitting here staring at the original engine out of Way Cool Jr. that's been budget rebuilt and dressed up? Well, the wires are a mess. They just hang everywhere. And there are kits for about $150 for running the wires with these ram horn headers, and $150 is a lot more than I want to spend on a budget rebuild motor. So what I really need to do is find a way to secure the wires nicely spaced right here, and then again here, and probably up here as well, just to neaten everything up. And I can find all kinds of spark plug wire spacers and kits for mounting them on the valve covers and whatnot, but I can't find anything that fits quite like I want to. And so as I was looking at it, I discovered this little mounting tab on the back here, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice if there was a spark plug wire holder that I could mount back here? So if you look at this, I 3D printed this. I've got a space here on the bottom where I can make a metal tab. I can put a 90-degree twist on it, rivet it to this piece, and bolt it down here, and I can mount these wires nice and neat. This cost me pennies to print. I'm going to have to design a couple more pieces for similar to this, but with 2 wire holders for going up under here. But 3D printing, if you can sort it out and if you can understand it, is a great tool for doing this kind of stuff. It's if you want to do custom parts, add 3D printing to your toolbox. So here's my 3D printing setup at work. Printing one of my spark plug holders. This is a Creality Ender 3. I picked it up on Amazon for, I think, like $180. For getting started in 3D printing, this is pretty easy and straightforward printer to use. I have done some modifications to it out of necessity. The original feed mechanism started skipping after a while, and the gear on it only lasted, it didn't last through a whole lot of prints. And so I upgraded my extruder to a dual gear setup, and when I did that I had to replace the motor because the original motor had a shorter shaft. The other mods, I put some smoothers in there so that it's in the circuitry down here so that the stepper motors run a little smoother. And I think I did something else, I don't remember what. I've had to clean out, you're going to learn how to take this apart and clean out the nozzle if you get one of these. But for small plastic things that you need, learn how to use a 3D printer, because you can make this stuff dirt cheap, especially if nobody else makes it. I went on to Tinkercad last night and drew up. The first time I used Tinkercad, it took me hours to make what I was trying to make, but after some practice I made these spark plug wire holders in about half an hour. Just figured out what I wanted to do to make them and planned them out and started producing them. The printing takes a while. Just printing something this small, it's almost done here. Printing something that small takes about an hour. If you're going to print something bigger, expect it to take, maybe a couple days. So 3D printing is a slow, tedious process. The results are worth it though. Alright, so I drew up my design for my spark plug wire holders, and I used Tinkercad to draw them up, and then I used the software, the Kira software, to translate these into from an STL file to a G-code file, so my 3D printer to print them off. Got them printed off, and so now I'm ready to make my metal tabs that I can mount them on the engine with. I'm just kind of spitballing first here how I'm going to do these. I've got an extra one of these plug holders, and so I think I'm going to use it for my test piece. My scrap metal here is, I think that's off a hot water tank, the outside casing of one. Every time I have to replace my hot water heater, or neighbor has to, which is kind of common on well water, I grabbed the old hot water tank and cut the metal off it for use here in the shop. So I've got a tab of metal here marked out that I'm going to cut. Alright, so there's my tab of metal made to fit on here. Overlaps just a little bit. I'm going to take my center punch now, my automatic center punch. Set this as deep into the piece of metal as I can. I'm not sure if that went through. Oh, it did. There's my 3 dots right there. So it barely reached them through the. I made those holes kind of tight for 1/8 rivets. All right. I could try to use a hold. Could try to hold this with my hand, but it's really a lot smarter to use a C-clamp. You get you a handful of these, have them around the shop, especially when you're doing metal work. I might be able to hold this by my hand, but it's got a really good chance of the metal piece coming loose and slinging around and slicing my hand open. It's not fun. So, put the C-clamp on it if I can get it tight enough. There it goes. I did not bring my glasses out here with me. Yeah, I've got it upside down. That's why I can't get the drill bit to set in the divots. All right. There we go. So, I'm going to clean up the back of this with a wire wheel real quick. Hair protection on. With a handful of regular depth rivets here. I'd like to have more than this. I'll have to go back and buy some at some point. And they are just a little too small to fit through these holes. They are 1/8 inch. And that gets it. So I just got to clean up these holes a little bit. You can see it doesn't take a whole lot of speed to get through that plastic. If it was metal, I'd be chucking it up in a vise. Okay. All right, that's fitting nicely in there. Ooh, that is snug. Okay, I got the end one through. I'm going to pull this middle one back out and ream that hole just a little bit. The hole in the metal, the hole in the plastic's about right now, but it's not quite in line with the hole in the metal, I guess. So, I think I'm going to rivet this end one first, and then install the other two. So, along with rivets, I have my backup washers. You're definitely going to want backup washers on this. Just put it on the back side. I brought my rivets over here, not the rivet gun. What am I thinking? Fortunately, my last rivets were 1/8 inch, so I've already got the 1/8 inch tip on here. There we go. Okay, let's go for hole number 2 here. Oh, and I just spilled rivets all over the place, or rivet washers. Rivet number 2. There we go. I just used the rivet tool to shove down on it a bit. Alright, give this third rivet hole a little bit of a bulge a little bit. Looking at this now, I'd probably rather done this the other way around, put these rivet heads that are smaller on the metal side and put the washers on the bigger washers on the plastic side. You can see those washers are so much bigger than the rivet head. I don't know if you see that or not where the camera's lined up. I'm gonna try to get better about my camera focus when I've got stuff lined up. It's kind of tricky when you're using cell phones though. Alright, so there is my spark plug wire holder made. Now I'm just got to do a 90-degree twist in it. And put a hole here for a bolt, and I'm still not sure what size bolt I need to go in there. Let me grab something real quick and see if I can figure out. Don't you love it when you grab a bolt that fits right in the first try? I do too, but that's not what happened. Alright, so my camera died while I was filming. The only screw I was able to find is a flathead screw. Threads are a little longer than I need, but it's an open hole in the backside and it goes into the bell housing area. It's going to be out of the way of everything, so this screw will work fine, but I'm just going to use it for prototyping anyways. You can see I've got the bracket on it. I'm tighten this down and try the spark plug wires in it and see how it fits. But just a matter of coming up with an idea in my head, and being able to translate it into plastic and printing it. At some point I'm probably going to want to buy some high temperature plastic. I've just got this. This is just PLA. That's all I've got right now. But you know, I'm kind of new to 3D printing. I'm learning it, you know, because you know you can never learn too much. If you're not learning something new every day, are you really living life? That screw does not want to go. I think I may have some paint in the threads there. But yeah, try to learn something new every day. Try to learn a new skill. You know, not only am I trying to learn, you know, the 3D printing, I'm also trying to learn computer programming. And you know, tomorrow I'm going to work on my Mustang, doing a rear end rebuild on it. You know, that's one of those things I've never done before. I've turned wrenches for 30 years almost now. I've never done a rear end rebuild, and I'm gonna learn how tomorrow. So learn something new every day. There we go. I like that. And I've got a 2-wire plug or a piece I'm gonna put up here, and that'll get these wires up out of the way, and my exhaust can run down. I'll probably need 2 of the 2-wire things on each side so I can get the wires out of the way of the exhaust here. But yeah, I like that. It's nice and tidy, and instead of spending $150 on a kit, I've got about $1 worth of plastic in this and a couple hours worth of labor. The sheet metal, I've got tons of that laying around. It's not a problem. Hot rodding, the beginning of hot rodding is not in. It wasn't in guys going and spending thousands of dollars on their hot rods. It was guys after the war who had a little bit of cash in their pockets and wanted to have fun and realized they had the talents and the skills to do this kind of stuff on the fly, on the cheap. That's where hot rodding comes from. And I think we've lost some of that. I like this idea. I'm kind of proud of myself for that. I looked for these just to see if there was something like this on Thingiverse, and nobody's printing up spark plug wire holders. So I'm gonna put these on Thingiverse, and I'll put a link in the description. So after several tries, I finally have these where I like them. You can see here's my original one that I showed making. The metal's kind of thin. I just did a twist on it. It doesn't really fit right. I stepped up some thicker gauge metal, and the rivet was in the way of the bolt on this one, so it didn't work. I tried this one, moved that bolt hole in a little bit, but it was too close to the side of the oil pan. So now I've got these. I've trial fitted these, and these work great. I've got the 4 wire holders for the back of the engine and the 2 wire holders to carry the 2 leads up to the front. They fit well, they bolt on nicely. I've test fitted all of them, so now it's just a matter of painting them and getting them cleaned up, and they'll go on the motor. So 3D printing your parts, it is now cheap enough and easy enough that you can do it. I definitely recommend learning it.